You're listening to the Mortgage Success Podcast, a show created to inspire mortgage brokers to achieve optimal success in their mortgage businesses. I'm the host, Brian France, the author of the book, Internet Marketing for Mortgage Brokers, tripling your online sales by getting your internet marketing done the right way. I'm also the founder of Mortgage Broker Marketing, the digital marketing agency for the mortgage industry. On each episode, I'll be sitting down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in your mortgage business. Welcome to the Mortgage Success Podcast. With me today is Tim Braheem. Tim, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Brian. I'm excited to be with you. This is fun for me. I love to teach. That's what I do, what I've been doing for 25 years. And anytime somebody is kind enough to ask me to come into their platform and help people, it's really an honor. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. So tell me about Performance Experts and your private mortgage coaching and the other coaching areas that you have with Performance Experts.
Well, Performance Experts coaching has been in existence now for 12 years. I can't believe it when I say that. It's actually interesting because I was a mortgage professional for 13 and Loan Toolbox I had for about 6.5. So I'm kind of creeping up on this being my longest career path as a coach. We're I think a very unique coaching company. We do private one-on-one coaching in our Performance Accelerator program, which is a very intimate, guided relationship between coach and client. There are 6 of us as coaches on the team. We have a tremendous amount of experience at this point. We've been doing it for a long time, and we coach some of the best mortgage professionals in the country. I mean, household names that many of your listeners know, like Ryan Grant and Josh Metal and Brent Hicks and Craig Strent and people like that. Our hallmark program is our Leadership 360 one-year coaching program that involves a small group of 12 people that are together for a year. So we've got really 2 coaching offerings: private one-on-one coaching with your coach individually, and then there's a group coaching program called Leadership 360.
Awesome. And that Leadership 360 coaching program, tell me about that. Is that it's a year long?
It's funny because we get a lot of referrals from our clients on this program. That's the program that people like Ryan Grant and Josh Metal and Craig Strent, people like that are in. It's been in existence for 11 years. It's a 1-year program that starts with an 8-day off-the-grid business and life planning retreat in Costa Rica, and also entails a 4-day retreat in Malibu, where I live at my home. And then there's one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and masterminding of events in the months in between. It's very, my clients tell me all the time, like, sometimes it's really hard to tell people what it is because it's so substantial and so transformational and so experiential, I think is probably the best way to explain it. It's a really bad to the bone curriculum, man. I mean, it's incredible. We've worked on it very hard for 12 years now, and we keep refining and improving it. And I'd be bold enough to say that I'd put it up against any coaching program that exists in the mortgage space right now. I'm really proud of what we do. It's a really intimate curriculum too. We only take 12 people a year into the program, and there are 3 coaches. So it's a really small ratio of client to coach. So it's very intimate. And we get to know each other really well. And I'm really blessed to become very good friends with my clients. We call it the Leadership 360 family. There are about 60 people in that program right now, because when you graduate from the first year, then you graduate into the master's program. And that's like the proverbial who's who of the mortgage space that's in that program. So it's a little tough to explain briefly, and I don't want to drone on and on about it for your listener. I'd rather get to teaching, but I do appreciate you asking about what we're doing. I guess one last thing that I'll say is that in addition to my substantial experience in the mortgage space over the last 30 years, we as coaches have master's degrees in psychology. We really utilize and leverage our our understanding of the human psyche and mindset and those types of things. And the nice thing in addition to that is that we're super tapped into what's happening right now in the industry, because our clients are all, like I said, the kind of the proverbial who's who. So it's really nice. I'm always learning from my clients as well as teaching them. Although I must tell you right now, as we record this at the end of 2022, I'm feeling pretty relevant right now, because this is throwback time, man. This is like circa 2005, 2006, or 1999. I mean, it's like all the things that I know to be necessary to be successful in the business right now are things that I did and remember very vividly. So right now I'm coaching my rear end off. I mean, people are really getting into my calendar a lot and looking for wisdom and guidance.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. That's what I was getting at. So it's very intimate coaching. You said 12 members a year and then 3 coaches.
Yeah.
So it's very, very intimate. Awesome. So with the down market today, what do you see as the biggest opportunity in the marketplace?
Let's start by reframing that. Like, this is really important. You led me right into an important teaching point. So I'm going to give you a little backstory. You and I started communicating with each other when I was on my honeymoon and I was in Europe. And I was kind of unfortunately keeping my eye on what was happening with mortgage-backed securities during September, and realizing this is getting ugly. Like, we're headed north of 7. I could feel it. I could see it. And I went through my little spin out mentally, because I'm human just like you are and everybody else. I was like, oh man, like, how long is this going to last? And what is this going to mean for my clients? And I'm so close with them and I'm worried about them. And then I realized when I got home that I needed to shift the inner narrative. Okay. So this notion that this is a down market, I think that's a narrative that we want to steer clear of. I don't know there's much payoff to referring to it as a down market. And those of you listening, I know you get asked the question all day long, hey, how's business? How's things going? You get asked by your family, you get asked by your friends, you get asked by your work colleagues. And it's really easy, if we're not careful, to speak out loud the inner narrative of, it's tough right now, it's difficult, I'm slow, I'm worried. And those might be your reality, but I don't think there's any payoff at all to speaking that out loud. So we've adopted a mantra within the L360 family and us as a team at Performance Experts that I've been embodying consistently now for about 45 days, which is, we're just figuring it out. I mean, that's all. We're figuring it out. This is a really exciting time if you look at it through that lens. And if you just gauge the energy of, oh man, it's tough right now and I'm worried, versus I'm figuring it out. Like, it's a totally different energy. And it's true if you choose into that narrative, which is right now is a precious time. It's a time to recalibrate your business model. It's a time to figure out who you are and who you want to be going forward. And I mean, literally every day when I get asked that question, I get asked every day, my answer is the same. We're figuring it out. Like, this is exciting, man. Like, there's new ways of remaking ourselves right now. And I know that I'm going to figure it out. I know my clients are going to figure it out. And on the back end of this, we're going to be stronger and better and more successful. Now, you and I, prior to the recording, you mentioned the perfect loan process. And I was talking to Ryan Grant on my podcast show a few weeks back. And in our conversation, organically, a thought passed through my mind, my consciousness of, wow, if I look back on my career, 1994, I'm going to take you way back. Maybe some of you weren't even born. I don't even know if you were born, Brian. You look like you're a lot younger than me. But
I was born in 82. I was
okay.
in,
so you were 12. Yeah, you were like, you were definitely not thinking about being in the mortgage business. In 94. 94, I'm going to paint a picture. Rates were at 9.5% on a 30-year fixed.
Right.
And I lived in an area of California called Northridge. And in 1994, in January, there was a major earthquake. And a significant number of the houses in Northridge back in 1994, excuse me while I clear my throat here for a second.
Sure.
A significant number of the houses were red tagged, meaning they were deemed uninhabitable. Okay. Like 30%. Okay. So not only were rates high, but most of the properties weren't even lendable. In 1994 is when I developed the first thing that I was known for as a teacher in the mortgage business, which was database management. I was introduced to the subject matter by my partner at the time, Bill Hillestad. I figured out, there's that phrase again, how to stay intimately in touch with my past clients, of which there weren't many because I only been in the business for 2 years, but I had about 100 of them. And I started to figure out a system for relationship management, which is what I refer database management to be.
Yeah.
That was a springboard for a great 95, 96, 97, 98. Okay. Because I had now a database that I had stayed in touch with. And when rates came back down, those people were top of mind. I was top of mind in their consciousness. And I did a lot of refis and they referred business to me because of the way I managed my database. So when rates were really high and I was slow, I figured out a system that would be substantially beneficial to me in my career. Yeah. Then 99 hits. Rates go from 7 in 98 up to about 8 3/4 in 99. Okay. That's when I developed, and I got really slow. I funded 3 loans in June of 99, which was horrible considering that I had funded 301 in 98. So I'd averaged 25 loans a month. All of a sudden I'm doing 3. And that's when I took the time to develop this thing called the perfect loan process. Translation. It's the markets that we're in right now where we figure out the pivotal things that will be the springboard for our success in the future. So I implore the listener to look at it through that lens. Right now is the time that you've wanted to have and haven't had. In 2020, 2021, 2022, at least the first half, you were so busy that you didn't have time to really execute on the initiatives that you knew you needed to be doing, that you had heard from others, but you just didn't have time. Right now is a very precious time to say, okay, I'm going to work on the things that I've always wanted to work on, and I'm going to trust that this is going to change, which I believe it will in 2023. By mid-23, I think we'll be in a lot better position. And if you do the things that you need to be doing right now to develop relationships with new referral partners and builders, to go back into your database and reconnect intimately with them, to develop systems of customer service. So when you do a loan, that every loan you do results in a thrilled customer that wants to come back and wants to refer people to you because you're allocating the resources and time to create a wow experience during the loan process. You're going to be in a far better position 6 months, 9 months from now when things get better. But now's the time to figure it out.
And changing your mindset, it's starting there, right? Change, and it's not a down market, right? We're figuring it out. I played that in my head when, as soon as you introduced it, and I did get a different experience, right? When I said down market, I did feel it. And
well, let's play off that for just a quick second, okay? So I want to get a little metaphysical, but not spiritual woo-woo. Very science-based what I'm about to say, okay? Very important for the listeners to understand. So we all are vibrating energetically every day, all day long.
Right.
Okay. That's not woo-woo stuff. That's science. We're all vibrational beings. Okay. We emit energy and people feel it subconsciously. That energy emission is based upon our inner narrative. So if my inner narrative, so just think for a minute, Brian, like, you know, people in your life that are victims and they're always complaining. Everybody's doing something to them. They're at the effect of the outside world. When you're around them, you're like, on a subconscious level, you're probably feeling a little guilty, but you're saying to yourself, man, I got to get out of this conversation. Like, hanging out with this person is not fun for me. And when you're done, you're kind of like, I need to go take a shower because I need to like wash off this negativity that I experienced from this person, right? You've also been around people that are very positive in their energetic in their internal thought process.
Hmm.
They're always happy. They're always in a good mood. They're always spinning things positive, and you don't even know what it is, but you just want to be with them. The more time you're with them, the better, because they make you feel good because you're picking up on their energy and they're a pleasure to be around. Now, the
Hmm.
question is this: in today's market, which of the two loan originator scenarios has a better chance of cultivating new relationships with referral partners? Which of them has a better chance of leading their team successfully? Which of them has a better chance at point of sale of getting that person to say yes to them? The person who's a bummer or the person who's up and positive, right? Realtors right now, they're struggling. They're worried.
Yeah.
They're scared. Their business has come to a screeching halt. So, do you want to be the beacon of light that engages them and has something positive to talk about? Or do you want to be the person that sits there and wallows in their misery with them? I mean, I don't think it's even debatable which of the two is going to be more
Nope.
successful. So really working on your inner game, your inner mindset is super, super important, man.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Um, you mentioned, I think that this is addressed in one of your programs. Yeah, the Leadership 360. Is that part of the
Both.
mindset? Is that something you work on?
Both. Yeah. Private coaching, the accelerator, performance accelerator private coaching
Yep.
program, and Leadership 360. We're constantly working with our clients on their inner dialogue, their limiting belief patterns. This is where the
Yeah.
psychology stuff comes in that I think we bring to the equation that's really, really valuable. Reframing the belief systems that we have that are not healthy for us and understanding why they are in place. A
Yep.
lot of us, hey, look, now I'm going to go deep into the weeds, but it's important. So we all, every one of us as human beings have one main desire, which is to be liked and to be seen and to be loved.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we were little kids, we learned strategies as to how to get that, how to
Right.
get ourselves to be seen, to be liked, to be loved. Some of us were uber compliant. Some of
Yeah.
us were perfectionistic, which was my case with my mom. Like, my mom recognizes me to this day when I do things perfectly. Translation: I get my mom's attention, which I want, which I've wanted since I was a little boy,
Yep.
because of that perfectionism. Some of us have learned to complain. If we're a victim,
Yeah.
we get attention. Okay. That's something we want to be steering clear of right now. So understanding, where does that dialogue come from? It's not a light switch, bro. Like, you're not going to like just go, okay, I'm changing my inner dialogue. Like my professor in school asked the question one time about somebody who had this negative inner dialogue running in the background. Like, how many times do you think you've thought that? And the guy said, I don't know, 50,000 times, 100,000 times over the course of my life. And he
Yeah.
said, okay, so what makes you think that tomorrow you're going to ultimately just change on a dime? No, it's a practice. It's a practice of starting your day with maybe journaling on gratitude, starting your day by writing down 3 things that are positive that happened yesterday. It's about rewiring and refiring new neural pathways in your brain
Yep.
to where the inner dialogue over time changes to something much more optimistic and positive. Then you are more enjoyable to be around as a human being, and you become much more attractive to the people you want to be attractive to.
Right. So that was awesome, and I thought you were going to continue to add that was awesome. Our words are so powerful, and they can set us down a path that we may not want to go down. And something that I'm working on and just started doing was journaling, and started to journal all the things I'm grateful for every morning. I started to notice, I was getting a lot of calls from clients like, hey, what can we do, marketing wise? And a lot of our clients are struggling right now, and they're just having a difficult time. And so that it started to wear on me, and I started to, my
Yeah.
mindset was, I was like, oh my, like, what's going to happen? I didn't know. And so I started to do that after meeting with some. So I'm in a coaching program myself, and And so that's something I'm working on, but thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
A really good, we talk about, like, I think it was Todd Duncan is where I heard this first about having a unique selling proposition. Okay. And we can get super tactical with that. Like, we cooperatively market with our realtor partners, or, we, do various other activities. Our perfect loan process is a unique selling proposition, etc. But a unique selling proposition that's often overlooked, that I think is the most powerful one, is being in service to other people. And the reason that it's so important, okay, is it makes you feel good about yourself. So like right now, I am steeped deeply in coaching clients who are figuring it out. And when I'm on calls with them and I'm helping them figure it out, I check in with my energy after the call and I say, how am I feeling right now? And I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling relevant. I'm feeling helpful to people. Right now, your realtor partners, they need guidance. They need strategy. They need to understand how to move inventory that they're sitting on. They haven't sat on inventory in 2.5 years. Right. And their axe has become dull as well. So how can you serve them? How can you brainstorm with them? How can you strategize with them and be their partner? How can you put valuable educational content in front of them that helps uplift them? What will happen is you'll start to feel good about you. And when you feel good about you, you're magnetic. So here's an example of something you could add to your morning strategy, right? So it's great to write down 3 things that you're grateful for. I do it every morning. I did it this morning. But what I do is I sometimes mix it up with writing down 3 things that I'm proud of about me.
Oh, okay.
That's a really powerful exercise. And for some people, it's like, oh man, like you may sit there for a couple of minutes and go, what am I proud of? I'm like, well, I'm proud of the fact that I'm a good dad. I'm proud of the fact that I am working really hard right now, figuring it out. I'm proud of the fact that I'm a good leader to my team and that I'm trying to protect their job security by figuring it out. This is really necessary to positively reinforce oneself on a daily basis. And for those that say, oh, well, those positive affirmations and things like that, they never work. Well, look, then if you want to have the negative stuff, go for it. Like, I mean, enjoy the negativity, but I don't really think it's going to ultimately get you anywhere. So having those disciplines, and I'm glad to hear that you have a coach, and it's one thing that I would suggest that you talk with your coach about, is some type of accountability and structure around controlling your inner narrative for at least 15 minutes to start every day. So you have an opportunity to have a successful day because you're rewiring and refiring, once again, those thought patterns in your brain. Super valuable.
It is. It's amazing. So I've heard Todd talk a lot about the opportunity. He has that big, I heard we're in a recession, like I'm not participating. I think there's like a big pin that he wore. So obviously what you're teaching here is valuable. Developing new relationships. Talk to me about that. How do you help people develop new relationships? I'm sure it's throughout the transaction, but today, like working with helping a realtor, putting others before yourself and helping, what will in turn change your inner dialogue, make you feel proud of, good about that, which now makes you magnetic. How would people start there to help their realtors?
Well, there's kind of 2 parts to it, and I'll get to the tactical part in a minute, which would be like some of the strategies that you could be using right now. But before we go there, I want to elevate to about 50,000 feet for everyone and then look at the word relationship. Okay, what is a relationship? I think that sometimes we don't slow down enough to take an analytical look at what certain things mean. So if I'm looking to develop referral partner relationships, let's look at the hallmarks of a relationship. what makes for a relationship? Number one, relationships take time. Okay. Sorry to be so crude, but like you're not going to go jump in bed with somebody after the first date in most cases, right? Like there's a courting process where you need to figure out and they need to figure out, does this feel like a relationship that is worth spending time on? Does it feel like a relationship that's going to yield benefit? Okay. And at the core of any relationship is connection. So I have a product that I think is super valuable that's been available for about 3 years now called the Referral Partner Success System. Okay. And it's all about developing relationships. So relationships need connection. And in order for them to have connection, the first thing that they need to have is something that we would call like a common denominator. Like if I were looking to develop a relationship with you, like I could try to start by selling you on me and telling you all the things that are great about me and my service and my perfect loan process and my team and my fact that I work for a mortgage broker and I have access to a whole bunch of different products. I mean, I could say all of that, but if I come out of the gate saying all of that, do you feel seen?
Do I feel what?
Seen.
No.
Do you feel heard?
No.
Do you feel like, is your guard up or is your guard down if I'm coming at you with all that?
Guards up.
Right. Okay. Because what you really want at the end of the day is to be seen and to be heard. So, you know, you've heard the metaphor before. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth, use it in that proportion. Okay. It's really true. So the successful originators that I work with that have a lot of good, valuable referral partner relationships all take the same approach. And it was the same approach that I took in the second half of my career. It took me like 7 or 8 years to figure this out, which was that I need to go into these meetings first and foremost, connecting with them and hearing them. And that requires asking a lot of good open-ended questions. Now, what's an open-ended question? Well, if I said to you, is business good right now? That's a closed-end question. You're going to say, no,
yes or no.
No, it's not, right? But if I said, Brian, tell me a little bit about where your business is right now and what you think needs to happen for you to be able to move the needle in a really positive way. And then I stop and I listen, and you go off for 10 minutes sharing with me whatever it is that you're struggling with, what your challenges are, what you're working on right now. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to start to feel connected to me because I'm listening to you and I'm hearing you and I'm seeing you. And maybe more importantly, I'm gathering very valuable information. I'm actually asking you to draw the bullseye for me as to where you have a need, where you need help, where I can be of service to you, where we might be able to partner, etc. So the first meeting in my mind is about you doing very little talking, doing a lot more listening, doing a lot more fact finding. You might find that at the end of that meeting, you don't want to work with that person because maybe they're a victim and they're complaining all the time, or maybe their sole focus is on, on listings, and you want to work with buyer's agents if this is a realtor, or if you're talking to a builder, their sole focus is 100% on their in-house lender and the relationship they have with the mortgage bank that they have their that they have their contract with, right? So first and foremost is understanding who you're potentially going to connect with, seeing if there's a connection and some common denominators, asking personal questions. Like, hey, what are your hobbies? Do you have a family? How old are your kids? Where do they go to school? The more you'll find, the more that people get to talk about themselves, the more successful they'll consider that appointment to have been. Because most of us don't hear each other. And then they're going to want to get together with you again. It's going to occur to them after the meeting's over. Wow, like I really liked him. I mean, he was a good listener. He asked some good questions. I really liked that I was able to share some of the things with him that I was challenged by or whatever. And then then it'll occur, I don't really know too much about him or her. And there's this thing called the law of reciprocity, right? Like when you give something to someone, they want to reciprocate with equal value in return. So they're going to be much more open on the second appointment to hearing a little bit more about you. Now you can come in the second appointment and address some of their needs. So let's get into some of the tactics for a second. So right now, most realtors are going to say, it's slow.
Yep.
Builders, the same thing. I'm having a tough time getting people to buy. All the buyers are sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I might ask you the question, do you have a lead nurturing campaign for all your buyers? What are you doing to be relevant on a consistent basis and in front of them to where when it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when they're going to buy eventually. The question is, are you going to be who they buy with? It may be a year from now, it may be 18 months from now, and it may be sooner, but it's incumbent upon you to continue to cultivate and develop and evolve the relationship and the connection between you and your buyers to ensure that when they do go with somebody, it's you because they feel like you've earned their business because you've stayed in contact with them. That's a very valuable message to send to a realtor. Now, let's say the realtor says, I'm having a tough time moving inventory right now. Like I'm having a hard time getting my sellers to get the grips on reality. Like they don't want to lower their price. Some of them are wanting to take their property off the market because they can't get the dollar amount that they want. Okay, let's talk strategy then. Let's say you have somebody who has a $500,000 home. You're trying to get them to drop their purchase price to $475 or their sales price to $475 to try to stimulate some activity.
Yeah.
That might be a strategy, but maybe a better strategy. And I'd be happy, Brian, if you'd like me to talk to your sellers about this, to explain this to them as a partner of yours. A better strategy might be to take that $25,000 and to create some very unique financing opportunities on this inventory that would make that property stand out on the MLS from all the rest. So there's this product called a 2-1 buy down. Now, I started talking about the 2-1 buy down in May, way before, like half my clients who've been in the business for 10 years or less didn't even know what it was. I was having to explain to them how it worked, right? Like what the mathematical mechanics were behind it. So there's this product called a 2-1 buy down. And what we can do is for roughly 2 5/8%, which on a $500,000 home is, somewhere in the neighborhood of, we'll call it $13,000 if I'm doing my math in my head correctly. For 13 grand, I can get them an interest rate of 5% the first year, 6% the second year, 7% years 3 through 30. Now, if I'm doing my job correctly, my job really just begins when their loan closes with me, because from there, it's my job to assist them in managing this indebtedness and to make sure that there are opportunities, when opportunities for cheaper money become available, that I'm making aware of those opportunities. So one of the things that I'm going to explain to the buyer is that sometime between now and 24 months from now, Brian, I'm going to be able to get them out of this loan because I do believe rates are coming down. And there should be some money left over on that subsidized 2-1 buy down for me to pay their closing costs for their refinance in the future. Let's say that 14 months in, I can get them down to 5.75% on a straight 30-year fixed for free. Yeah. They're going to want to do that rather than going to 7% in year 3.
Right.
But it doesn't stop there, Brian. What we need to do is we need to use this strategy in our marketing. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to get the seller, and I'm, again, happy to assist you in getting the seller on board with this, to not only buy the rate down, keep the price at 500. We're going to buy that rate down. It's going to cost 13 grand. We're also going to allocate another, say, 5 grand to closing costs. So instead of them dropping the price 25,000, we're going to have them keep it at the current level. We're going to have them allocate 18,000 for the closing costs and the buy down. And now here's the magic, Brian. I want your MLS listing and all your flyers to say exclusive financing offer on this property only.
Right.
Interest rate of 5% for the first year, save $603 a month and $7,200 in the first 12 months. That's going to get a buyer to stop and go, oh, wow, this is a unique opportunity. I've never seen this before. That's going to make your phone ring. That's going to generate activity on that particular property because you're the only one in your marketplace doing this. Now, when I shared this strategy with Caleb LeGrand, who's one of the top originators in our coaching program. Caleb, in a good year, does 600 loans a year. This year, he's on track to do about 350, which is still damn good given the circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
He immediately went, this was about 4 weeks ago, he immediately went to all of his builder relationships and taught them this. They were all on board. Not one single builder out of the 4 said no. They all said, yes, let's do this. This is a great idea. So this is a way that you partner with realtors and use the financing options that you have at your disposal to create marketing opportunities for them. And I know that you get this, Brian, because you're a marketer by nature, but like these are some of the strategies that we need to be using right now to cultivate relationships with people. But it starts with connection. You know, they have to like you. That's the part that most loan originators don't ever take into consideration, their likability factor. Well, how do you get people to like you? Get them to like you by hearing them, asking them intelligent questions, and adhering to their needs and being of service to them.
Right. It's so valuable. So hearing people out, you got to be liked, and then create opportunities opportunities like that, like you just shared with the 2-1 buy down. That's amazing. What would you say to someone that hasn't worked with a realtor? I was talking, this is what I wanted to share. One of my clients sat down with the realtor and asked, like, hey, why are you sending the deals to that guy? And he just simply said that he was sending me emails, right? He was sending me emails about the new products and the new loans. And so he thought he was more creative. And client's like, wait, what? No, like I'm who's more creative than me? That's not the case. But just a simple email was what that realtor thought, you know, there was some value there, right? And all of our clients, everyone in the mortgage industry, they get tons of these emails from lenders. So that's part of the nurture, right? How you nurture that relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I think that right now, you know, you're either relevant or you're irrelevant. Okay. So I think that you have to really be taking a look at how are you being relevant. And one of the ways to be relevant would be to put together videos and put them on your Instagram. Put yourself out there a lot. I have a client, Mark Bowie, who works for Fairway Independent Mortgage. Mark had 2,000 followers on Instagram in January. He just went over 70,000. This week.
Wow.
Okay.
It's going viral.
He does a video every day. It's a short reel with different strategies. And he's really starting to get some traction in the realtor community and buyers. And he's building up a war chest of pre-approved buyers and all of that kind of stuff. So you got to put yourself out there. But I was talking to another client of mine the other day, and I'm not going to name names on this, but he has there are 2 clients that I have that work for the same company. And one of the guys is the owner. And I said, hey, so-and-so is doing a really good job with their Instagram, man. I've been watching his videos and they're really excellent. He goes, yeah, but he's not getting out there. He's hiding behind the camera and he's not generating any business because he's just on video, and he's falling into the bucket with everybody else that's doing video right now. So the message that I want to send to everybody here, that's I think really important, is to remember that relationships are a contact sport. Okay. Yes, you can send out videos to get brand awareness. I think it's important. I do it. Okay. It's important. Don't hear me that you shouldn't do it. You should do it. Okay. But you also got to get out from behind the camera in your cave and go out and hunt.
Yeah.
And it's back to the olden days. You know, Brian, the thing is that I've been doing this long enough and have seen enough cycles now to know that what happens is in a refi boom, the biggest problem with a refi boom, like the one that we had for 2.5 years, is that it creates really lazy loan originators. Okay. We sit in our office and we crank through as many loans as we can. We're trying to shove as much through the pipeline, and our skills, it's almost like the muscle, you know, the muscles of a successful originator atrophy, because they forget that it's still about the basic networking, blocking and tackling contact with people that's important. So getting out there and having coffee appointments, getting out there and doing lunch and learns for your realtor community, getting out there and having, you know, lunches and dinners and all those types of things are super, super important because the human connection part of it is very important to the equation.
100%. Yeah. I think the video, yes, you have to do it, but there's also, right, that relationship, like you have to go out and build a relationship, right? And you can't do that just one way, right, with just a video. But the video.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, can I just say something that it's real
Absolutely.
for me,
Please.
it's a pet peeve. Now, I think that there are a lot of people that would disagree with me on this, but
Yeah.
I feel strongly enough about it to where I'm going to say it, which is I don't like the question, why are, what's, we hear these various versions of this question of like, what is your current lender doing for you that has you working with them? Or what do I need to do to be able to get your business or from that, that you're giving to your current lender? I don't like bringing up the current lender. I don't care about the current lender.
Yeah.
Current lender is not as good as me. All right. So like, I'm not even going to bring it up. And what happened would all the time for me was that I'd go through a couple of meetings, first one, I'm hearing them, I'm learning about them, I'm asking smart questions, I'm connecting with them, I'm leaving with them wanting more. Maybe I give them one little suggestion on my way out the door and has them go, whoa, that was a good idea. And maybe I send them a book when I get back to my office, or a video, a TED talk or something that speaks to something that they shared with me. Then the second meeting, I'm telling them a little bit more about myself and, solving some of their problems. Yeah. Somewhere in that progression, what will happen is they will say something like, well, I've been really loyal to Eric for 6 years. And I'll be like, who's Eric? And they'll be like, well, he's the lender that I give my business to. Okay. I mean, what is it that you want to share about Eric? Well, but I feel guilty because like you currently offer me more than he's offering me, but I've been giving him all my business. I mean, I've had several realtors, like 6 or 7. Right. It went exactly this way. So I feel for consideration. And again, there are others that disagree with me on this, but to me, bringing up their current lender shows my insecurity. Yeah. I actually just want to come off as being confident. I know that I'm more valuable than your current lender. It's just a matter of time until you figure that out on your own. And my job is just add value until which time you make that decision. But the minute that I start bringing up, let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. The minute I start bringing up their current lender, what do I need to do to get your business, blah, blah, what happens to their guard? Goes back up. Because now they're being sold. I want their guard down. I want their guard down the whole time that they're interacting with me. That's what makes me different. That's what makes me likable, is that they feel safe. The minute that I start putting the full court press on, they don't feel safe and they feel like they have to come up with all the excuses and reasons as to why they're using their current lender. I don't want the conversation going there.
Right. Yeah. You'll get a lot of the brush offs, like the loyalty thing. Wow.
Well, look, the loyalty thing's a great point. Like, we're trying to get them to break up with their partner. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't like, that's not a battle that I want to fight. They're married. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to get them to break up with their current relationship. That's only going to happen over the course of time once I've built up enough trust and equity with the person, not because I have some fancy script that's going to get them to say, okay, I'm dumping this person. Actually, I wouldn't want them to dump that person because I said something slick. Yeah. That shows to me that they're not going to be a loyal partner to me.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it makes sense. Wow. So you started to notice this early on in the late 90s. What were you doing? This is exactly what you were doing. Just how you laid it out, right? You weren't bringing up the previous lender. You were just going in, providing value, and waiting for them to bring up their lender.
I'll tell you exactly who it was with. I remember where I was. I was sitting in the office of Bob and Kathy McLean, two of the top agents in my area. I was just with Kathy. I had a yellow legal pad on my lap. I asked her a lot of questions. I got to know her. I found out that they love travel. I found out that the next vacation that they were going on was to the Mediterranean. Yeah. I was talking to them about their business, their needs, etc. And then it was in the first conversation. At the end, I'm like, you know what, Kathy? I had promised 30 minutes and we're at the 30-minute mark, and I want to be respectful of your time. Yeah. I'd really love to get together with you again. I really enjoy getting to know you, and I think it'd be really cool to just get to know each other even more. And then she said to me, well, I'm really loyal. And I said, okay, that's great, first of all, but why do you say that? And she said, well, because I've been working with Eric for, blah, blah, blah years. And I said,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, Kathy, I said, wow, I hope that I didn't say anything to make you feel pressured that this was about me trying to convince you to stop working with Eric. That's
Right.
not the intention of this meeting. The intention of this meeting is for me to get to know you and to feel into whether or not maybe there was some synergy between us and some synchronicity. And I said, I think it's
Yeah.
probably a little premature for us to even go to that step. I respect the loyalty very much that you have with Eric. Let's just continue to get to know each other. It took one more appointment. I got all their business. It happened that quick, but not because I talked her into it, but because I actually didn't put the full court press on her. I let her come to me when she was ready. This is the psychology part that I was talking about at the beginning of this conversation that really comes into play in our coaching, because it's a different approach, but it's the fact that it's different is what makes it successful too, because nobody else is doing this stuff.
Yeah. Guys, go back and that was pure gold. That script or that conversation that you had, I think that was super valuable. Let's talk about scripts. Do you have scripts laid out in your systems, in your coaching systems for people?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a whole library of
Right.
scripts. My son is a filmmaker and graduated from Boston University in film. And so he works with me on the side, producing videos of all these types of scripts. The referral partner success system has a ton of these scripts. And our coaching programs we have scripts for everything. I mean, we have scripts for the perfect loan process. We have scripts for, how to conduct a proper interview when you're interviewing somebody to come work for you. I mean, everything is about the words that come out of our mouth and asking smart questions and really uncovering the things that you need to know before you make a decision. And certainly tons of scripts as it relates to selling to the consumer, right? Like how to explain different loan products, et cetera.
Awesome. And so you've worked a lot on those recent. This is a note here I had marked down. When is the best time in the transaction to ask for a referral?
Oh, good question. Well, okay, so you're talking to somebody who always had a lot of insecurity. This was my own work, although I very honestly never really overcame this challenge for me. I remember, Daniel Harkavy was my coach 25 years ago, and he used to say, think about how many more loans you would do if you were asking for referrals. And I'm like, I can't do it, man. Like, it's not my style. Like, my way of being was always like my final line after I got done consulting with a client in the second phone call. I had a 2-step process was, Brian, whether it be with me or someone else that does what I do for a living, I think that you should move forward with that 7-1 arm at no points with 20% down. After going through the numbers with you, assessing what your needs are and your temperament and your tolerance for risk and all those things, this feels like the best product. And then they would say, well, I want to work with you. And I'd say, okay, great. So like I never asked for referrals. My philosophy was always, I'm going to provide so much value up front that it's going to be the byproduct of the value that they're going to just want to work with me. Now, did I leave deals on the table because I didn't? I'm sure that I did. Now, to answer your question, when is the best time to ask for referrals? At loan approval is the best time.
Yeah.
Because if you wait until after the deal closes, they don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you have this tremendous opportunity for 45 or 60 days or however long your transaction is to during that window, they need you. They're going to listen to any voicemail you leave. They're going to take any phone call you have. They're going to respond to any text or email that you send. Because you have them as a captive audience. Once the deal closes, they've got moving vans, they've got, getting their kid enrolled in the new school, and you're an afterthought at that point. So loan approval is a moment of power. Okay. It's at that point that you deliver good news and your confidence is at the highest level possible. You feel good that you can make that phone call and go, Brian, I've got some great news. We got your loan approved. Congratulations. We have 17 days left. listen, we're really enjoying working with you. And we're always interested in working with people just like you. So if you know anybody, friends, family members, colleagues at work that might be in need of our services, we'd be really grateful to have the opportunity to serve any of your friends or family members. Please let us know. Now, something like that would be my script. But I wasn't able to deliver that transparently. But I still did a lot of business because our system was so good and we provided such great service.
Right. Okay. Awesome. What I think there's also time at loan approval, right, to generate a review, right? The marketing
Yeah.
side of things, right? On your Google listing or but that's where the power is right then, right? When
Yeah.
you're needed.
And you know what, Brian, you're right. And I agree 1,000% with you. And here's another reason why it's important to get reviews at loan approval rather than at closing.
Yeah.
What if that person's a 4-star review at closing?
Yeah.
You don't have any opportunity to make them a 5-star. But at loan approval, there's still time. So if they say, you know what, give you 4 stars, we thought that your team didn't really get back to us as promptly as possible, or they were asking for documentation 3 different times and it was irritating. You have time still to salvage that and make it a 5-star by the end of the transaction. But if you're waiting until the end, it's done.
It's a wrap. Yeah, it makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep.
So what do you keep hearing from the people you're coaching? What are they asking? What are they wondering about? What do you see them not doing enough of or not doing well? Love to hear what you're
Right now, the folks that I coach, their biggest angst and anxiety is around their team and having to furlough them, or in some cases even let them go. And then, some of them are on their second or third round of cuts. And, the first round's not so difficult because it's all those temp people that you hired during, refi mania, and, they're going to be the obvious first ones to go. You get rid of the kind of the weak links that you had, the bodies that were just satisfying a need. When they get to like the second or third round, it starts to become very personal, like people that have been with them for 6-7 years that they know their families, et cetera. So that's an area that they're really struggling right now. And one of the things that I've been telling them is like this goes, so the reality of it is that we're going to be most successful in all aspects of our business if we open our heart. And if people can feel us. That's what great leadership is about, showing compassion and empathy for people at all times during the transaction. When they're excessively busy, acknowledging that and thanking them and doing little things for them to show that you care. And especially at a time when you have to let them go. So one of the things that I've been coaching people on right now is letting people go with elegance, letting people go with compassion, not doing that buy.com video thing that went viral where the guy laid off a whole bunch of people on Zoom, but like realizing that, we're talking about a family here that's being impacted. And how are you going to do this in a way to where they leave, and although they may be disappointed, they're saying on the way out the door, man, like she really cared about me, or he really cared about me, and I'd go back and work for him or her in a second if there's an opportunity. And guess what? There's going to be an opportunity. You're going to need some of those people back 6-9 months from now when rates get better. So ending it on an elegant note, ending it on a positive note with compassion and kindness is super, super important. So when you need them, you pick up the phone, and they may be working somewhere else, but that somewhere else is probably not as good as what was with you or the last memory they had of you. And they're going to be like, I'll quit in a second and come back and work with you. I want to be on your team. So that's important. The other thing right now that, my loan originators are dealing with, just like everybody that's listening, is getting back to basics, marketing. Like, I know that that's your wheelhouse. Like, this is an environment, I've used this metaphor for a very long time, a baseball. Okay. And I'm a big baseball fan. So in a marketing creates at bats. Okay. Scripting is your batting average. Okay. In a refi boom, You're getting 600 plate appearances a year. You're a starter. You're batting leadoff. You're getting as many at bats as anybody on the team, right? And you can afford to not have great scripting because you have so many opportunities that even if your conversion ratio isn't as good as it could be, it doesn't matter. You're still making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Okay. But now we're in a market where you're on the bench and you're a pinch hitter. You get fewer at bats, and every one of those at bats is precious. So being properly scripted to have the highest batting average possible, having a really dynamic presentation that adds value and educates at point of sale, super, super important in this market. And then reinvesting back into your business. This is the time where, see, most originators are not real business people in this regard. Most businesses allocate a certain percentage of their annualized income back into marketing to continually create at bats and opportunities. Okay. And right now is the time to do that. I know it's scary, but it's the time to be getting in front of people so you can figure out what they need to hear, what you need to say, so you can start to build up that war chest. If I'm an originator right now, I'm building up the biggest war chest of pre-approved buyers that I've ever seen, because when this market turns, it's going to be ching time. I mean, there's going to be, you're going to wake up one morning, look at CNBC or your mortgage-backed securities on your computer, and you go, oh my God, here we go. And you're going to start calling all those people, and you're going to convert those people into deals. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
When. Yeah. Amazing. Cool. What would you say is the greatest insight of someone that owns a mortgage brokerage? They're trying to take it to the next level. What's the greatest insight you have for that individual?
I'm not sure that that's a pretty broad question, meaning like I'd have to diagnose where that person is in their business right now. I mean, I think if you're a mortgage broker, which I was for 13 years, so I can speak that language, I'm using the fact that I'm a mortgage broker to my strategic advantage. I'm talking about the fact that, look, the difference between me and some of the other people you're talking to is I get the wholesale rate. Okay. There isn't this fat markup that these mortgage banking companies have. So I'm leveraging that in my scripting. I'm talking about the fact that I have a vast variety of product out there that others don't have access to, that I can kind of control where I send your loan, and based upon who has the best pricing at that time, where others have more of a limited product offering. But from a perspective of taking their business to the next level, that could be a different answer for every single person, depending upon where they're at in their business, how big their team is, how good their marketing is right now, how well they're scripted. I think right now is a time, though, that you have to really be a student of your craft. Like, you need to be able to understand how to explain inflation. You need to be able to understand how to package a very difficult loan, because it's the tough loans that open up the gateway for future business and a new relationship for people. So it's about rolling your sleeves up and figuring out how to be as valuable as possible to anybody that needs to borrow money, or people that can refer you to people who need to borrow money.
That was amazing. Love it. Tim, thank you for your time today. How can people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Well, the first thing that I want to suggest is to your listeners is, if you don't mind, to subscribe to the 360 Experience podcast. I'm really lucky, Brian, that not only do I have a lot of people on the show that are tremendous loan originators in the space that are clients and friends of mine, but I also have access to a lot of personal development people because of what the field that I've played in for the last couple of decades. So there's tremendous conversations with people on mindset, time management, and then and all kinds of other components, life planning, etc. But then there's a lot of great conversations with really, really wonderful and successful originators. Secondly is, if you go to our website, www.performance-experts.com, you'll see you can find out about our coaching programs. If you're interested in understanding a little bit more about our coaching, just fill out an application, and then we'll set up a conversation. We'll explore together and see if it's a good fit for you. But those are the two best ways. The podcast, the 360 Experience, it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcasts, all of that. And then our website, performance-experts.com.
Perfect. And we'll link them in the description.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I saw you had was it Jesse Itzler?
Oh,
he had a book. I can't remember, but I remember the name and his
Living with
story.
Seal.
Huh?
Living with Seal.
Yeah, with
David Goggins.
Goggins. Yeah, that was a great book.
That's a really great conversation with Jesse. He and I have gotten to know each other quite well. He's spoken at 2 of our retreats. I highly recommend that podcast conversation. Yeah. It's a really wonderful one.
Awesome. Tim, thank you so much for being here. And
hey, Brian, thank you.
We'll have to do it again.
I'd love to. And I want to wish everybody good luck. And remember, you're just figuring it out. That's all that's happening right now. Nothing else.
Love it. It's gold.
Right on, bro. Bye-bye.
If you would like to generate more sales through your digital marketing efforts, please visit mortgagebrokermarketing.com and get a copy of the book, Internet Marketing for Mortgage Brokers, tripling your online sales by getting your internet marketing done the right way. Also check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to optimizing your Google My Business listing. This has been another episode of the Mortgage Success Podcast. Thank you for listening.